Last presentation of the day, and it is a project call announcement. Please welcome to the stage Ben DeMarco.
Okay, who's still here? Raise your hand. Okay, project call. I like James Warren. Show me the money. Those who've listened, oh man, those lights are bright. Where's my sunglasses? Okay, those who have listened to me give a talk, I don't like conventional talks. I like to change things up. So last talk of the day, I'm gonna ask you all to stand up. Please. Okay, so this is, again, I have, Zach said about 20, 30 minutes, so everyone standing? Of you standing, if you have never purchased anything online, please sit down. Okay, we only have one person never purchased anything online. Okay, we are all in the active purchasing, buying, selling supply chain. Now, if you've never purchased a part that was cast, forged, additively manufactured, or injection molded through some manufacturing technique, if you've never purchased something like that, please sit down. Never. Okay, a couple more. Now, in your professional career, if you have never purchased a casting, forging, or additively manufactured part, please sit down. Okay. Now, if you've never purchased an additively manufactured part or bought or participated in the manufacturing in some capacity, a manufactured part that was made via additive, please sit down. Okay. Now, if you've never manufactured or supplied an additive manufacturing part, please sit down. So you or your company or your organization has never manufactured or supplied. Now, if you've never manufactured or supplied a part to a specification and followed a specification, please sit down. Okay, we're getting there. Now, if you've never gone through an audit process for your manufacturing process or qualification, and you've been audited for the part that you made, please sit down if you've never gone through that process. Additive is still in play. We're in the additive zone now, completely. Okay, so you've passed an audit or you've gone through one at least. Whether you passed, I don't know. Now, if you've never supplied a part to the Department of Defense that's been additively manufactured, please sit down. And it has to have gone through an audited process. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 people are still standing. Now, you or your company or your organization, so you've gone through an audit, you've passed, you've supplied a part to the Department of Defense through an audited process. Now, I know Brandon's going to sit down after this one, I think. It has to have gone through metal laser powder bed fusion and been supplied to the Department of Defense. Okay, we're down to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. have you ever audited or manufactured or bought a part from one of your suppliers and reused it in the supply chain for the Department of Defense? Okay, that's where I wanted to land. We're at 5 people. Thank you. Okay, I think the message is clear. There's not 400 people left, but maybe let's say there's 200. 5 people have done that. If I could declare urgency right now, 5 people out of 200 have done that. We need more. That's this project call. As I was thinking about how I was going to share the message or activate you all about this project call, there's not enough people in the room that can solve this today. So when you're listening to this, you may tune out and say, this isn't for me. Fine. Go, leave, whatever, that's fine. If you're going to stay, call your friend. Call someone. Make sure they get the word out on this. Post it online. This is a problem. If you're staying here, please, your action, if you're not going to deliver parts or qualify a part, at least tell someone this is a problem. Get them engaged. Professional sports teams go through training camp, spring training. Maybe you're into motorsports, they do winter testing. You train, you prepare to win. Military has boot camp. We prepare to win. JAQS is to prepare the supply base. When I first saw this, I didn't understand the urgency or the message. I had 3 phone calls with retired Lieutenant Colonel Peters, who's not here. I've been told this is recorded, so I'm going to leave the profane words out. This call is about transition. This call is about parts. This call is about qualification. It's a problem. I'm not going to swear because it's being recorded, but we had some heated discussions around this. And I think I understand the message now, and that's why I'm up here telling you about it. We have to identify this gap and spread the message that certified additive manufacturing, parts for DoD applications, there's 5 people in this room. We need to get the other 20, 25, 50 people active. We need to get them going. We're going to develop and train and ensure our contract manufacturing supply base is ready to produce parts for the Department of Defense. You're going to get paid to be trained and audited to make parts. I mean, we're here. We're in professional spring training camp. These suppliers will get paid to get prepared, to show that they can make it. They're going to give the government confidence in the supply base. We heard from the industry perspectives, they're doing it. They have a bottom line, they're profitable, they're reducing lead times. They can do it. We need more suppliers that can sell these parts to our government. The current process of part-by-part qualification isn't cutting it. We have a degrading industry capacity. Aircrafts are being left fielded. They're not flying because they're missing parts. So those have heard Mark Shaw's name almost in every talk. If you have a bingo card, you've probably had bingo 10 times. NIAR is working to develop training content in parallel, and that's the first step. Those that are selected in this first group, this first cohort, will be trained and go through an audit process for JAQS-SQ, Supplier Qualification, on laser powder bed of additive manufacturing. But Ben, what about wire arc? We heard it this morning, it's important. This is group 1. Group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, group N are coming. This is the first group. Train, audit, follow curriculum. This is not operator training. This is for you and your organization. These are for your suppliers, if you're a prime. These are for the parts producers. These are the people that are in our supply base that need to be activated. Those that go through the training and pass will be put on a list. My hope is next year we have 10 people standing, or 20, or 50. Is that a stretch? I don't know. Mark and I had a talk about this, and he said a voice in the room that is missing constantly are the supply base, are the people making parts. So I called the CAM, I called the Encodema, I called those people. We need to get them in the phone calls. We need to get them to respond to this. I mentioned a few names. Anyone can respond to this. All I'm trying to say is those folks aren't in the room right now, so they need to be called. They need to be told about this. Proposers do not need to include NIAR in their project funding. So the dollar amount for this is on the next page. If you downloaded it last night, it's $340K. It's on the next slide. You don't need to put NIAR in there. NIAR has a separate contract that they're preparing the content, preparing the information that they're going to do through the audit process. Proposers should do a self-assessment. I looked in the mirror. I need to lose weight. Be honest. Don't bloat your MRL. Be honest. Mic drop. You should include a detailed approach. You're going to attend coursework. You're going to implement the learnings within your organization, within your company. You're going to go through an audit process where NIAR will work with you, come to your facility or a facility. You're going to get paid to do this. I wish I was still in industry so I could do this. You get paid to learn. You get paid to get better. You should also include an approach for your program planning, your execution, all the important things that we cover in the RFP. John Martin, Brandon, myself, we spend a lot of time putting these together, getting feedback from the government side. There's going to be curriculum, a knowledge test, a certificate, QMS. You need to prepare. If you don't have a QMS or you don't know what who doesn't know what QMS means? And I'm not going to point you out, but QMS, Quality Management System. If you don't have one, I don't know if you're ready for this yet. If you don't know what one is, it's okay, but you need to have some sort of QMS. Independent audit, what do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you need to lose weight? Do you need to hit the gym, do more squats? 15 months, 12 months is the actual execution, 3 months of report. So we're also going to ask you to document at the end how it went, so we can prepare the other groups and the other cohorts. You can propose shorter. If you say, hey, Ben, I'm ready to go now, great. 2 months, 3 months, 5 months. Cut it in half. The sooner you finish, the sooner new groups can roll out. Max federal funding, $340K. 25% cost share at minimum. 5 awards in this first group. Again, don't include NIAR in your funding profile. Project proposals up to $340K. 25% funding. They usually do the math for me, but we're good. Some dates. We're going to post this recording after this presentation. You'll have 1 week to submit questions. Please do. We're going to answer questions here at the audience but in the next couple of minutes. When you submit your questions, they have to get posted. There's a question and answer page on the RFP. Any questions that get submitted, we have to go through a review process with our government team, provide a formal answer, post the questions. Sometimes proposals have NDA, proprietary information. These may not, but if you want to include your process documents in advance, we can have an NDA. You can mark them proprietary. There are deadlines for these, so that way those actions can happen. Proposals are due October 2nd, and anticipation of those of you either have been selected or not selected by November 10th. September 18th, you must be paid in full in good standing membership. Project team members, so if you have a bigger team than just yourself, they don't have to be America Makes members, but please ask questions early and often. Don't wait till the last day. Cole does not like when people do that. 25% cost share, $85,000. If you get $1, you have to put 25 cents in the pot of cost share. If you looked at the RFP yesterday, there was a line about Cognizant Engineering Authority that's been removed from the website. It's not in the RFP, but if you saw the website and saw CEA, it's not a requirement for this project. But the lead proposer is fully responsible for the project and subcontract performance. The work is to be done in the United States. There are some requirements that are spelled out additionally for eligibility. I encourage you to go read them, but this is for the U.S. supply base. If there's people on your team that are outside of the United States participating, they need to be documented. And there are, I would just encourage you to always check the list, but there are countries that are strictly prohibited. No questions, not allowed to participate. Minimum list of deliverables are on page 10, and the reporting requirements are on page 26. We do frequently add new requirements, new deliverables. We had a good discussion in one of the working groups around the requirement for CEA, Cognizant Engineering Authority, and why that came about for some of the other projects. Really, it depends on the project and the intent. So we work with the government team, the customer that's paying for this activity, and they outline some of the minimum deliverables, the minimum requirements. And then it's our job as America Makes to facilitate it, to make sure that the information gets back to the membership, that gets in core, that you can find the deliverables. For this project, we, who asked about DD 2345? Are you still in the room? Just pulling back the curtain a little bit, we had some discussion, government team, America Makes team, NCDMM team. Do we require a DD 2345 for submission to this? We went back and forth. We ultimately said it is not required to submit. However, there is a deliverable that you should obtain it in the 1 year you're on contract. There's also in that same deliverable the request to get an EJCP. We understand it's hard. We understand it takes time. If you don't have it, you can still submit. It's not required. But it is a deliverable. Please read the deliverable list. Look at the requirements. There is evaluation criteria, so executive summaries aren't included in your total page count, but they must be publicly releasable and non-proprietary, the executive summary. Tech approach and methodology is 20%. Data management plan is 10%. Huge, huge, huge percentage put on the impact to the DoD. 50%. Tech dissemination to America Makes members. What did you learn? Where did you stub your toe? How are you going to impact the DoD? Program management, 20%. Cost is not in the percentage of score, but it is looked at. Overall value proposition. I already mentioned about the executive summaries. No fee is allowed. That is simply based on our cooperative agreement. Some of these other requirements for the UEI and CAGE code, just we need that information when you submit. And there is a subrecipient agreement that should be filled out. Don't wait till the last day when you go to submit your proposal. I know a lot of people have complained about that. Make sure you look at the subrecipient agreement in advance. Ask Cole and the team questions if you have some. All right, 10 minutes, questions, what do you got? Thank you, thank you. For those who know me, I am a jolly, happy guy. And I wanted to get up here and get rah-rah excited, but it's just, it's imminent, it's important. And I even bought a special coat. So, thank you for coming this week. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for being members. Thank you for considering what America Makes is all about. Thank you for attending with a friend. Thank you to our government team, Dr. Robin Vialva, Evan Handler, Sarah Toppers on the program management team, and those that aren't here. We meet weekly. Thank you. Thank you to our government team. Thank you.
Sabine, question? Question?
All right, so I would like to open it up to questions. I'll try my best, and if I defer, it's not because I don't want to answer. It's, I think we should talk to our government team, so there may be questions I'm not unable to answer. Because again, anything I answer today, we have to be able to publicly put on the website and say this is a question and this is an answer. So if I can't answer it, I will make sure we get back to it within the week after this with our due date.
All right. Well, I'll start you with questions, Ben. Thanks. I'm Scott from Lockheed Martin. I was one of the 5 people who got to stay standing through your entire question sequence. I'm curious if this is intended for truly individual suppliers, or if it would be something Lockheed or a big prime could apply for and then go try to qualify their vendors or do the training internally. We've done the tedious part by part. It hurts. I've done it. It'd be great to be, certified as a process instead of certified as a part. So curious where you think that goes.
Yeah, so I know you mentioned this to me earlier, and I thought it was a good question, and thank you for repeating it. So the question was, he's a prime. Is the RFP meant for primes, or meant for suppliers, or can primes participate as well? I love the question. I'd point you to the tech dissemination to America Makes members and impact to the DoD. So if you think you can make an impact, whether you're a prime, you're a parts producer, ultimately, if you can ship parts at the end of this project, and you can ship more parts and increase capacity, I view you as eligible. Whether you're a prime, a supplier, a small business, mom and pop shop, Joe's Garage, if you can meet the requirements and the deliverables, I don't think you would be considered ineligible. So that's my answer, and we'll document it and make sure we get it answered properly, but thank you for your question.
Hey, Ben. Keith DeVries, apparently the silent partner in the government.
Hi, Keith.
So 2 questions for you. One, are we spending my money to do this?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, if you go back to your technical criteria slide, several back, I'm sorry, do I get to advocate for my manufacturing readiness level assessment as a tool for your participants to assess themselves and look in the mirror accurately, or do I need to stay quiet?
If we could pass the mic to Sarah and Mark. No, the simple answer is I believe in.
There's not an America Makes tailored MRL assessment that you want them to use. All right, so there is available online at www, yes, the government requires the www because we're old school, www.mrl.com is the guidebook for the DoD's manufacturing readiness levels assessments. I highly recommend you do that so that you can start from an accurate baseline rather than the one-line statement of, oh, I've demonstrated this in a laboratory representative environment. That means I'm at a 4. Just go through the process. It will help you with the validity of your submission.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So the MRL guidebook, and the 2 other things I was going to mention is, yeah, so there's folks that have been asking or talking about this in advance. So I know they have some criteria they've reviewed. We'll put that link in Keith's question online to the guidebook. And I think it was just refreshed in the last 6 to 12 months, if I'm not mistaken. Additionally, I think we have some video recording resource of Brian Schmidt. So Brian, raise your hand. He is an MRA, MRL expert. He's been in a lot of facilities. Yeah, thanks, Brian. He's been to the service depots, so he's been to Tinker and some of these other service depots that are doing production and making parts. So if you have questions about MRA, MRL, find Brian. I know it's the end of the day. Sing karaoke with him, that's fine. But yeah, I think we have a video resource. I'll have to check to see if it's linked on our website. But there is some information as well on MRA, MRL. I agree, do not look at the simple one-page clip art graphic that has, this has been done in a laboratory environment. I agree with Keith. Please use valid sources when you look in the mirror. Great question.
No, yeah. Trying. Oh, there you go, man. So Jim Dobbs, I'm also an OEM Boeing. So we're not going to participate. But if I go to one of the tier ones who's working with us, you named a couple, what is the expectation when they finish this? If I go and say, you guys really need to do this because at the end you will be fill in the blank. Are they certified, qualified to what? To 70-32, to 60-30, to something Mark's making up? That works. You know, Mark makes some good stuff up.
Actually, retired Captain Peabody, I believe, is supporting this one. I don't know if he's in here, but Mark and Captain Peabody, they're building a great team. But the simple answer is I can refer you to the bottom bullet point is there's going to be a list of pre-qualified suppliers that will be communicated to the DoD Advisory Board, DAB, Advisory Board. All program offices, procuring activities, and will accredit suppliers for all DoD services for AM production. So I think that's kind of the foot stomp message to your question. I would encourage you and those that you are going to talk to in the supply base to read the RFP, and if you have further questions, please submit it. Cole, make sure you write that one down, and we put note of that current response, that bottom bullet. Thank you.
All right, I don't think it's on. Oh, there it goes. Okay, perfect. Offhand, do you know what group laser wire DED would be in? And when that what group? This is group 1 for powder bed.
We don't have forecast of the next group or the group after that, but I think it's a great question. We'll write it down, and we'll see if we can get some sort of forecast for the future.
Yeah, that would be helpful for just our internal planning as well, to see if something lines up.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Hello. Andrew Thompson, Northrop Grumman. I'm going to kind of build off what the other primes have asked. So it says all DoD services. There are additive specs specific to each service. Can we have some guidance on when we go and talk to the supply chain on getting qualified, what should be the priority there? And Evan looks like he wants to answer it. Is there a DoD service priority in this? Any DoD service?
It's manufacturing technology focused.
So the qualification to a spec, is there any sort of guidance around what that spec would be?
Sarah's peeking her head around.
Ready?
So, unfortunately, I can't promise that we are all immediately getting to a single spec for what the test requirements are going to be, et cetera. But we are starting to coalesce on what a lot of the surrounding requirements are in terms of documentation, in terms of what you need to show, and how some of that audit needs to occur. It might be that the vendor may need to print different coupons for a different service. I can't promise one way or the other at this point, but I will say a little optimistically, it should be about 80% you won't need to do.
Okay. So is this industry specs or is this proprietary specs?
So what I would request that you do, Andrew, is, and you know me, I love asking questions to questions. My question to you is to submit a couple of questions. Hey, my organization follows spec ABC. how will this program address that? Or I have proprietary spec ABC, can I still use it? So submit those very specific questions. And again, we can talk, or I think we've talked enough about this in general as a community. There's a million ways that people are doing this right now, and the point of this is to be more consistent. And Evan's answer I like is the 80%, or whatever the percentage is. It's not an exact quantifiable number, but we need more consistency. We're getting a bunch of different cookies out of the oven at the end. We just want good cookies. So please, homework for you, please submit questions. I review all of the Q&A questions. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question. Just an industry guy, not part of the government or even in the supply chain at all. Earlier, a speaker said that the United States government is we make like hundreds of additive manufactured parts for our war machines. China does millions. Do we think that China is still doing this qualification process? Because millions of parts is quite a lot of process. And second, if we get in a hot war with China, do we feel confident their machines are just going to fall apart because they have unqualified parts? Or where do we stand in the whole arms race with additive?
So, I love the question. And I'm going to pivot, not necessarily because I don't want to answer the question, but this is the tools we have right now. Adele Ratcliffe spoke yesterday, delivered a beautiful message. They scrounged together $35 million to start America Makes. Alex just showed the numbers of where we're at now. So we're working with the tools we have to grow and expand the supply base. So this effort is focused on U.S. supplier base qualification. Again, I'm not pivoting to not answer your question, but I want to stay focused on the mission here. And Matt Sermon gave another talk this morning. He has a team that you can reach out to get more specific answers for readiness and things like that, and how you can support the submarine industrial base. There's program managers and teams and SPOs within the Air Force. I don't know if it was DLA that gave the talk that talked about all of the aircraft that are being supported. And I don't have the exact number, but the React Lab at Tinker are shipping thousands of polymer parts that are going to our fleet. So, again, not to pivot, but I just want to stay focused on the mission, which is supplier qualification. Thank you. Go ahead.
I got a fun one for you. Is participation in this program required to participate in the training, or would companies be able to pay their own way to attend those trainings if they were interested but not part of the project?
Interesting. So you're saying we only have funding for 5. If they say, I want no money, I just want to attend. Is that what you're asking?
Mm-hmm. Or if they just don't get selected but still want to attend.
Let's follow up on that. Good question. Because yeah, sometimes when we receive proposals, if we have 5 topics, we may receive 20 proposals, but only 5 awards are anticipated. Good question. Let's follow up on it. Oh, toss the football. All right, and Ohio State retired band member.
I'm Doug Hall from Battelle Memorial Institute, and I'm the program manager for MMPDS. I was thinking about it related to his question about the proprietary versus public spec. If the goal is to maximize the number of people that can do this stuff, the focus should be on what spec can I buy from SAE or ASTM to make parts? Because if the proprietary spec, I know that we didn't share them when I was at Honeywell, and you probably don't share them when you're at Northrop. Yeah. And proprietary specs, like you're gonna have one person that can do it. But if it's AMS 7000, you got a guy back here that was making 14 tons of it. I'm gonna talk to him about his data. But that's just a suggestion and a comment about the approach for maximizing the number of parts that you could start making.
Yes, great question. And again, if I can go back to this bullet point, and I'll give you the same homework, Doug. Please submit a formal or official question. if it's about MMPDS, or if it's about SAAMS, or if it's about AWS, or how do those apply. There is an active project funded by Mark Benedict that is looking at all of the different standards in the landscape and the overlap. So there are services within the government that they see the same thing that you're seeing. And they don't know exactly how much they overlap, but they're looking at it. So my answer to your question is please submit an official, formal question. And again, I'll be looking for yours and Andrew's names on the list. But if you look here, and I think if Mark was in the room, he would probably say, looking for contractors to execute to a necessary process control document. Typically, the process control document, whether you're at Northrop or any of these other companies, Boeing asked a question, most of them either keep that in-house, hey, this is my process, this is how I make my cookies. We want to get them to a qualified production capability and get away from part-by-part qualification. So this project is a step in that direction. But again, I think you have a great question, and if you have specific specs you want to reference, laser powder bed fusion focus, please include them in your question or questions, and we'll get them answered, because I would like our government team to help me answer it formally. Again, questions are great because sometimes we don't have the answer right away. And we have to email different experts and pull together the information. And so when we say we don't know, it's not because we don't know. Maybe we just haven't thought about it before. So great question, Doug. Thank you.
Is this on? Can you hear me? Richard Freeman from PRI, who run the NADCAP program. So I am an undesirable foreign national. Don't get worried, because I've got lots of US colleagues. Back to one or two of the other questions, we run an aerospace accreditation program through a number of commodities, including additive. We've got unrestricted ITAR auditors who audit AM facilities. Would we be eligible from the US side to be part of this and have some of our auditors work with NIAR to audit the process and bring one of our suppliers who are interested in DoD work into the program? I will ask a question formally, but I thought I'd bring it up.
I was going to say it's an excellent question. We'll have to get back to you on that. So if you can submit it formally, I appreciate it. And I always like to give you a little bit of breadcrumbs. Sorry. If you weren't aware, not this project, but a prior project, Amy, was focused on allied interoperability. So we, America Makes, Department of Defense, have been engaging the UK supply base and a US supply base. And then the Ministry of Defense, same thing. They were engaging the US supply base and the UK supply base. So the suppliers in this program are intended to be the US supply base. There's opportunity for folks to be on the project, but just the manufacturing has to happen in the US. So if you or your organization was on a team or participating anyway, they just need to disclose that. So I want to make sure that's not unclear and give some breadcrumbs that it's just the supplier, the people making the parts, and the people submitting the lead have to be a US-based supplier for making this.
Yeah, got you. And we have quite a few NADCAP US companies accredited who are interested in DoD work, so it would be US people, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, Rick Russell, nothing? I'm just teasing you. All right, Rick's like, come on, let's get a drink.
So I just wanted to add, this isn't a question, of course, Ben, but nice job, Ben, by the way. I wanted to go back to your point about looking in the mirror, because you are going to see, right, Ben went over the percentages and the 50% in the transition and impact. To Keith's point about MRL, you are going to see some things in here that it's not going to look like boilerplate. And the reason for that is the same reason why that's 50%. right? So several of you over the years have asked me, Brandon, how do I write a strong proposal for America Makes? The number one piece of advice I give to everyone, you must read and understand and address every single evaluation criteria. That is, I will share, the number one reason why some people miss it. You don't address it. You skip it, or it's too loose to make the cut. So I would encourage you between now and next week when the Q&A closes, at least that section, go look at and ask yourself some hard questions, right? Do the look in the mirror that Ben suggested, and then submit more questions if it isn't clear on what the heck we're asking for. That's another reason for this Q&A period. It's not just to, have the partnerships, which Ben is right. Ben is right. But I think the other thing is, if what we're asking for isn't clear, we're here to help. But that there's only so much time for that, right? Because this is being competitively bid.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, and to Brandon's point, there's a deadline to submit questions. We get a lot of questions late. And this is not unique to us. Like if you do sitters, if you do other competitively bid processes, there's a line in the sand where you have to submit your questions. Because then we have to deliberate and get answers and post them publicly so everyone can have the same information. The date to submit questions is a week from today. And I will say to Brandon's point, we get a lot of questions where if you had read the RFP, I know it's 63 pages, but really it's like 24 if you don't look at the T's and C's. You look at the evaluation criteria, you look at the other stuff. I'm not saying the T's and C's aren't important, but the damn operations guys. See, I said I wasn't going to swear. But the point is, for the Q&A period, the 1 week you have, like Brandon said, at minimum, go look at the evaluation criteria. Go look at the technical overview and approach. Ask your questions around those. You can ask other questions around the T's and C's in pages 25 to 65 or whatever it is, but we do get a lot of questions that come in that I'm like, man, if you read that, I answer it with, read page 22 of the RFP. It's right here. So we get it. You don't have time to read the whole thing. There's tools out there now that help with that. When I wrote proposals, they weren't around back in my day. Okay, sorry. Any other questions? Thank you for the good engagement. I feel more confident that at least maybe we may have 10 people next year stand up at the end. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to call Jade up for closing remarks.